If you're 18, 19, and you have a body count of 9, I think a lot of people are going to say, if 8 at 18, you're going to say that that's a high body count, for example.
When I was 18, yeah, my body count was 1, but now I'm like 28 years old, and obviously it's gone up from then.
Multiply it by 3, and that's the real number.
I lost my virginity at 17.
Okay.
So, and I had a boyfriend, so it was at 1.
But I think most men are going to say, and I would agree with this, is that in terms of our own personal preferences, the lower the better. Under 5 or 0.
Can I ask you this? At what point is a man's body count considered high?
Ooh.
In your opinion?
Well, wouldn't this be a female perspective?
Well,
I want to hear your perspective, personally.
I would just say the same as whatever I say for a woman is, it's the same for men.
You think over 10 for a man is high?
Well, I said there's a bit of gray area there. I'll just say over 20 is like a high body count.
Okay.
For a guy.
But over 10 is a high body count for a woman.
No, well, I did make some...
You retracted your statement and said over 10, so I just wanted to hold that.
Yeah,
Unless
sure.
you want to go back to over 20, then that's totally fair.
Well, I mean, I think when it comes to social assessments, women just care less about male promiscuity than the reverse, so I don't know.
I just feel like a lot of the men that I know when I've asked them this question, their range has always been like over 50, over 30 at the minimum. And then I've said, say, 10 to 15, and people are like, oh my God, that's insane. And I'm like, you literally just told me you slept with 55 women. We are the same age, and I said that I slept with 10. And I don't know,
why do men have to die on the Titanic? It's just so unfair. So unfair. One of the perks, men have to die on the Titanic, but we get to be sluts. That's the trade-off, I guess. I don't know.
Strange.
But
Can you agree with me, though, that tends to be the perspective of everyone?
It says yeah.
I don't care about body count, really.
Warren.
Ooh.
Wait, you mean when you say you don't care about body count, like you don't care about a woman's... You don't care
let
about...
me put it this way.
Are you tanked, Warren?
I would
Get more champagne for Warren.
Yes. Now I'm starting to really speak honestly, but I would prefer to be with someone who knows what they're doing, if that makes sense, without it being excessive. I'm not going to get with like an OnlyFans model or something like that.
Like couldn't a woman who's been in one long-term relationship and I guess she's had a lot of sex, like to
one really, yeah.
But her body count's 1, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Does that make sense?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
honestly though, like
if it was
here's
vanilla,
the thing,
then
right? Is as a guy, if you know what you're doing, I think you can take a woman who's never had sex or had very little sex and have really good sex with her. Like, I don't know, sex is not a complicated procedure. You know? You know what I mean? No?
It's an art.
An art?
Art is crazy.
But like, I guess, is this an entailment of your position though? So would you then say, well then, if it is the case that I want a woman who's more experienced, it is thus desirable that she has fucked more men?
No.
Like you would want her to have slept with more men before she met you, which just sounds really untenable. You know what I mean?
Right.
No,
I wouldn't say that, no.
But you want, okay, experience. I see.
Someone who's not like, oh, what do I do now?
That'd be kind of hot.
But she doesn't have to be like that. If you know what I mean, that's not how it goes. Like you can do the work and teach her, and then the next time she's gonna know what she's doing. It doesn't take like so many experiences to know what you're doing, especially as a girl.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that either.
And I do think though on this conversation when it comes to like in terms of the actual physical skill set when it comes to sex, like it's way harder for a man to be good in bed than it is for a woman to meet like the minimum threshold of what is good in bed. Like a man has to have more skill than a woman, if that makes any sense.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
What do you all think? Like, I don't know what it's like. So.
Well, the reason I say I'll make my argument that women are welcome to respond is that so just due to the differences in anatomy between men and women, there's just certain like just realistic differences. So here's the best way I could put it. Like, I think a lot of men, if they are like having a sexual encounter with a woman who's a virgin, who's had very like really inexperienced sexually, I'm pretty sure most men could take that woman and they could climax. But like, I'm not sure the same can be said
For the virgin.
with like the reverse. And also here, I guess here's the no, you're totally fine. Here's the other framing is if a woman was doing literally nothing, like you put her in doggy style or whatever position and she just stays there without moving, most men, they might want her to be a bit more involved, but most men can bring themselves to climax having sex with her. If a man just stands there or lays there with a boner, there's less women who could, through their own movement, could make themselves climax by doing that. So it's easier it's just anatomy, right? So that's, I guess, my reasoning. I don't know.
I'd like to see the statistic on that.
The statistic. Well, look, to be fair, there's women who are like insanely orgasmic and can like come super easily. But like, I would say that like there's a majority of men who, if the woman's just like puts herself in doggy and she just is stationary and he's thrust, he can make himself come to, like, majority of men, I'd say 95%, 99% of the men can make themselves climax in that situation. If you as a girl just like have a dude who's just there and he's just stiff, it's way less women who can, like, they're throwing it back or doing whatever the fuck y'all do, who can make themselves climax.
I know a lot of women, friends of mine, who actually have an easier time being on top because they're in control rather than just sitting there and doing nothing. Or, I mean, I guess it depends on the person, right? Like,
But what he's getting at is that, like, men can literally climax in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't really matter. Women, it takes more thought, more process.
Yeah,
like, you have to be, like, in the mind. I feel like women, you have to be in the mindset to want to. It's all mind games for us. Whereas for men, it's all, like, biological. They're like, this is great, having fun, whatever. But women, we all get in our head and we think about a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. But
How
also
did we get to this, by the way? I don't know how we got here.
I really don't remember
Warren
either.
was saying he likes a woman to know what she's
Oh,
doing.
experience.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah.
want
And
experience.
I was just saying how, like, I don't know. I think you can.
You can mold a female who has, like, no experience more as a man who has experience already knows what he wants.
Yeah. Anyways, we got some more chats coming through. We have Pasty George. Guys, get him in. $69 TTS, streamlabs.com/whatever. Here we go. Pasty George. Uh-oh.
Pasty George donated $70. What kind of delusional
Thank you,
logic
man.
makes any woman think that they are worthy of a man who makes over 6 figures, let alone a 5-figure income? What do you bring to the table to be worthy of
All right, that's for you. You respond to that.
But he said 5-figure even, and, like, I
You-
feel like all
you
of us are
respond to that.
reasonable.
So I would say I would just be very supportive of my partner and